This is what Trump voters were too stupid to see on their own. They had no foresight to see what this was going to do. Story after story after story about what these ICE raids are really doing to America. When we told you that Trump was going to destroy our economy and what these ICE raids were going to do to the immigrant and to the agriculture community within our economy, we weren't just saying it for fun. We were trying to warn you. In a stunningly swift overnight change, some Texas farm operations had to shut down after losing virtually all of their workforce. An exodus triggered by the increase in immigration raids and increased enforcement. The ripple effect of these raids are the gift that keeps on giving and will be felt nationwide. Unpicked crops are now left unharvested, livestock were left unattended, and rural economies are on edge. You can read the rest and pause it if you want. And the damage is already done. Even if we stopped all the ICE raids and said, never mind, come back, do exactly everything you were doing, they wouldn't. Because Donald Trump has also made the entire world not trust us. And you know what? Other economies in other countries are probably going to take advantage of the immigrants that we treated like shit and kicked out of this country and benefit their economy. Meanwhile, we're not going to have fruit, vegetables, meat in a lot of our stores. And the stuff we do have is going to jack up in price.
Look, we have farmers. I love farmers. I want 80%, 85% of the farmers, and I love them, and I'm never going to do anything to hurt our farmers. I never want to hurt our farmers. Our farmers are great people. They keep us happy and healthy and fat.
It's fine. We're just going to burn the fucking crops. Let everybody starve.
Jerry Spencer turned to unemployed Americans, but says after 2 weeks, most couldn't cope.
The farmer says, start over here and end over here. And that was the extent of their instructions. With the American workers, they all had to be taught all this and separate. And in addition to the fact that their bodies just were not built.
Some bad news for U.S. agriculture. Farms in Texas are shutting down at an increasing rate. This is mainly due to the fact that their workforce has literally vanished 100% overnight in some cases. Of course, the immigration raids by Donald Trump's ICE department is causing this, and it's leading to complications for the business, and in many cases these businesses are actually shutting down. The issue with this, of course, is that the supply chains will be affected. Prices will be increased as food scarcity increases as well.
Texas farming business is on the verge of collapse. And it's not a funny thing, it's a sad thing, but this is what they asked for. This is what they voted for. Texas farmers voted against their own interests. They all voted for Donald Trump. Now they want Donald Trump impeached. Now they want Donald Trump going. Now they're talking about the billionaire companies and the oligarchs and the people he's serving. But when he was talking about middle America and bringing jobs back to America and making America great again, all y'all had your Maga hats on. Now Maga don't know what to do because he's cut their funding. He's cut their funding and he's making them have to sell their land for pennies on a dollar so the corporations can come in and buy it up. He set you guys up. And all he did was use the scourge of racism in America, right, and promote that stuff, and you guys jumped right on it. And you voted against your interests. You actually supported the mass deportations, and you supporting mass deportations is diametrically opposed to what it is that you're doing, right? Your lifestyle is predicated on the cheap labor because of your farms. And you supported Trump, and Trump done kicked out all your workers. So now you online crying, right? And a lot of people, they online, they're talking like this.
This is news out of Texas. But folks, these are alarm bells ringing for the entire United States. And our government is not listening. Overnight, multiple farms in the state of Texas completely shut down. And the reason for this shutdown was because they have lost almost 100% of their workforce. Now, we know this is the result of the immigration raids and stricter enforcement, but the ripple effect is going to be felt all the way across this country. Now, you've got crops that are rotting in the fields. You have livestock that is not being attended to at all. And that takes a lot of personnel. And we're talking, so now we're getting every area of food to include meat. And the communities that surround these farms, those businesses and those people who depend on the income from these farms, it's creating disasters for small communities in Texas. Now, this is not stopping at Texas farms. This is going to end up all the way across America, especially in the breadbasket, the middle of the nation, because they have tons of immigrant help. But folks, the alarm bells are ringing. Your food on your plate is being affected. So you got to think about it. It won't be soon until either prices go ridiculously high or you just won't have any food to buy.
Immigrant farm workers are not showing up on farms in the Rio Grande Valley in Texas, Florida, and California. In Texas, in particular, in the Rio Grande Valley, they produce many crops needed around the country, such as grapefruit, corn, citrus, oranges, all the vegetables, tomatoes, carrots, cabbage, onions are all grown here. And guess what? The undocumented workers are not showing up there. They're not showing up here in Florida, and they're not showing up in California. Now, I can hear you all say, you don't care, you're glad they're getting them. They're breaking the law, number one. They are criminals. They're not criminals. They are violating a civil violation, which is a fine or a penalty. It is not criminal, unlike the felon in the White House. That's a criminal. You will be complaining when you see no fruit, vegetables, and other crops in our grocery stores to eat. You will care when you see the prices escalate even higher. Isn't that the reason y'all supposedly voted for Trump? Because he was going to bring the prices down, and y'all could only complain about everything under Biden. I don't hear y'all complaining about these out of control prices anymore that we continue to see everywhere thanks to Donald Trump. And all the prices that we've seen go up because of the trade deals or no trade deals and the tariffs. Well, guess what? These prices are going up. Thank you, Donald Trump. You and Stephen Miller. Stephen Miller is such a genius. You know, he is the whole reason that we're having this whole problem, because he is so anti-immigrant. And by the way, his family came from Europe. They were persecuted as immigrants. And Elon, Elon, I did say Elon. Elon, how do you like hanging out with Stephen's wife? What do you think? Love to hear from my Democrats, my Magas, my crazies, my cuckoos, and my burned out light bulbs. What do you all think? Only going to cost us more money, and to accomplish what? This is not a solution. It is the problem. Donald Trump and Stephen Miller are the problem.
Y'all, this gringa literally just come up with the best idea in the history of the United States of America. Okay, so I'm sure you've heard Florida, Las Vegas, Texas, and several other states are in a workers' crisis. They say they have a workers' deficit because they are lacking workers in the construction, hotel, farming, restaurant industry because of all of these mass deportations, right? They are in desperate need of workers. Well, we all know that a lot of MAGA supporters were screaming and shouting that, oh, all of these Hispanic people were taking their jobs. They're stealing our jobs. They're taking our jobs. Well, right now, in these states, there's plenty of jobs open, but nobody wants to do them. They enjoy drawing benefits and reaping benefits without having to work. Seems to be a very common problem. So here's my idea to help this situation. Anybody that gets benefits but are perfectly able to work should be mandated to work. So we need to start detaining those individuals and bringing them to those job sites to do those jobs if they are getting benefits yet not employed. That's what we need to do. They need to be forced to work. We need to round them up, force them to work. If they don't have any work ethic, or if they complain and don't want to do these jobs that nobody seems to desire, then we need to withdraw their benefits. Because what are they doing for the United States of America if they are not being productive citizens of this country? We need to withdraw their benefits. And if withdrawing their benefits does not give them a work ethic, then we need to start detaining, rounding them up, and deporting them to third world countries where they literally have to start from zero, see how privileged they actually were in the United States of America, and gain a work ethic there. Who's in agreement? Let's make America great again.
South and the Southwest has always relied on agriculture and crops to make money. As you guys said, they make a lot of the fruits, the onions, a lot of food that come onto our plates is grown out of the ground down there in the South. So, and we know that why would you guys vote against your own interests? So now you can't get none of the immigrant workers to come and work in Florida. You can't get them to come and work in Texas. You can't get them to come and work in these cities because they're too afraid of being deported. That's because you didn't take them serious. You didn't respect them. You looked at them the same way you looked at slaves of the past, right? Because the South always, that's why they don't like to unionize. The South has always been about cheap labor and getting over with cheap labor, right? So because you was getting over with cheap labor, you didn't take this stuff serious. So now you come in and you support a president with these policies, and these policies now is decimating the agricultural situation down there in the South. It's totally decimated. And this is what's going on right now. So now you have these white farmers, they're screaming and crying bloody murder. But this is the thing. If you can't get the migrants to do it, why don't you go and do it? Why are you shutting down? Why don't you go do it? So you had, let me get this straight. There was black slaves working in those fields, Native Americans working in those fields. You got poor immigrants coming and working in those fields. But you guys was getting free money from the government. Why aren't you working in the fields? Why don't you go work until you guys can work it out with Donald Trump to get the money back? Oh, you rather just shut down than just work in the fields, though. And that's what this lady is saying. Like, if they're giving you money, you should be working. You should be producing a crop. But, man, this thing is crazy. They're not finished. Check this out.
Multiple Texas farms shut down after almost 100% workforces vanish overnight. So some Texas farm operations had to shut down after losing virtually all their workforce. An exodus triggered by the increase in immigration raids and increased law enforcement. The ripple effects of these raids are the gift that keeps on giving and will be felt nationwide. And this goes for unpicked crops. So there's crops that are just sitting there that are now left unharvested. And then also there's livestock. There's livestock that's gone unattended. And this is hurting not only the local economies where this is coming from, but this is going to cause food prices to spike, and then also it's going to cause food shortages. So this is another effect of Trump's stupid fucking raids. Again, he's not going after the criminals. He's going after these workers. These are workers that are working on the farms. They're attending to livestock, and now we're all going to feel it. And these businesses, these farmers, farmers are generally not liberals. They are fucking pissed. And a lot of them had to shut down. This is all because of Trump and his fism.
We're here. We are here at the FAFO stage. This is really bad. I'm just going to read this to you. Multiple Texas farms shut down after almost 100% of workforce vanishes overnight. In a stunningly swift overnight change, some Texas farm operations had to shut down after losing virtually all of their workforce, an exodus triggered by the increase in immigration raids and increased enforcement. The ripple effects of these raids are the gift that keeps on giving and will be felt nationwide. Unpicked crops are now left unharvested. Livestock were left untended, and rural economies are on edge. The story isn't just a tale of woe for Texas farms. It's a warning for American agribusiness, food prices, and communities that keep food on our plates. I need you to share this with every Republican you know. And you don't even need to wait for their response. They just need to know what's happening. And this is part of my line of work. I deal with commercial farmers, including these small farmers, as clients, and I cannot tell you how this is the beginning of the complete collapse of our economy under this Project 2025 administration that doesn't know what they're doing. You talk about the immediate shuttering of farms, because this is actually what's happening with the food, with the harvests that are lying there completely rotting. That is a loss of food to local food distributors, local grocery stores, local restaurants, hospitals. They sell their harvests, all sorts of vegetables, to businesses within the state of Texas. This is where you can go into your local grocery store, and now you're going to see hardly any vegetables or fruit, depending on what they're growing, or a shortage of meat. This is what's going to happen. Now, all of the other industries that support farming, you've got local pesticide, herbicide, fertilizer suppliers that are just, their sales are going to plummet. These farmers aren't going to be purchasing that. You've got H-2A workers who are now gone, migrant workers who are now gone. They were paying taxes. Even if they didn't have social security numbers, they were given tax numbers, tax ID numbers. So now you got millions of dollars just poof, gone overnight from these Texas communities. You've got trucking companies that are hired to haul the produce from the farms to the packaging plants. You've got packaging plants who wash the vegetables, grade the vegetables, pack the vegetables, whose sales are going to plummet. Now you're going to have other industries who don't employ either migrant workers or H-2A workers who are going to have layoffs. This is all under Republican leadership, not just from the White House, but from the Republicans that were elected in the state of Texas. And if you think this is going to stop at Texas, you've got another thing coming. And you want to know which farms are going to be impacted further down the road? They're going to be safe for now. There's a small percentage of farmers who are actually Democrats. And they understand how important it is to protect their employees, take care of their employees. Those employees who feel safe will keep showing up for work because they know the owners have their backs, which says something about these other farms where the employees are like, I'm too scared to show up. Let me add this final thing. This is going to impact farmers. They're at risk of going out of business. Who's going to jump in? The federal government to compensate them with our tax dollars. So now our tax dollars is going to be used to cover the bullshit leadership of this administration on top of the overwhelming increasing tax dollars being used by this administration to scare, to deport, to imprison people with brown skin. Like, our tax dollars are not helping everyday Americans at all. And this is just the beginning under Republican leadership. Share this video.
So this is a message to the MAGA farmers who are losing their farms because of the current administration. This is a message to the MAGA veterans and military who are watching their health care be destroyed and workers be fired and billions of dollars going from quality of life measures for troops to the border. This is a message for the MAGA poor who are watching their Medicare and their Medicaid and Social Security getting ready to get chopped. This is a message for all those people who thought things were going to get better. He doesn't fucking care about you. They don't care about you. The Republican Party doesn't care about you. They needed you for your votes. Some still do. The guy at the top, he doesn't need you anymore. He only needed you to stay out of jail and make billions of dollars from becoming president again. And all the Republican representatives and senators, they just needed you to vote for him so that they could help get that giant tax tax cut for the oligarchs who fund them. They have never, ever cared about you.
So what happens when America loses its agricultural base? What happens? You know, what happens when now foreign companies are coming in now and supplying all those things and America loses its domestic base? What happens? What happens when, you know, you have this economic collapse? What happens to the people of America? What happens to our food production? All this stuff is crazy because Donald Trump comes in with his tariffs, and this is the thing. These guys are not stupid. Donald Trump and J.D. Vance knew that this would happen. They had this thing planned from the get-go. They didn't just become president and vice president and then this had, they said, oh man, we didn't know that we was going to implement these rules and implement these new laws and then this was going to happen. No, they already knew. They already knew. They set you guys up from the word go. They want that land and they coming for it, right? So they're going to decimate the agricultural business, and it's going to take years to get out from under this. It's going to take years to untangle this. And while it takes so long, they're going to bring in the billionaire companies to come in and remedy the problem while they get rid of all the domestic farmers. So this thing, like, man, it's real crazy, but people are learning, man. Your racism in this country is the reason why you're in the predicament that you're in now. And you got this money from the government. You didn't treat your workers right. You know, man, listen. And how we know you didn't treat your workers right, because if you're getting money from the government and you have these immigrants working in cheap labor, why would you go vote for Trump knowing he said he was going to have mass deportations and kick them out? Why? That goes to show the mindset. And now these lands are just being decimated. Decimated. Something's going to have to be done about it. Something's going to have to be done about it. But right now, man, listen, the black farmers is out there and they're saying, listen, we ain't crying. We're used to this. Now you know what it's like to be like us. That's what the black farmers are saying to the white farmers. The government is doing the same thing to you that they've been doing to us for the last 100 years, right? And, you know, I don't know, man. This thing is crazy, man. As more of this come out, I'll report more of this, man. If you made it this far in the video, hit that like button. Subscribe to Street Media TV. Leave your comments in the comment section. Let me know what you guys think. And remember, I love y'all. Till the next time. Peace.